Chuseok came again to Korea. Chuseok sometimes gets translated, I think badly, as Korean Thanksgiving. It's the festival of the harvest moon, or Korea's version of Tet. For Koreans, it's a time to return to your hometown, argue with your family, and give thanks and food to your dead ancestors. For me, with nowhere to go and everything closed, it's a time to enjoy the early autumn weather and reflect on things. Early autumn is a busy time for a bonsai. It's the last opportunity to do work on your trees and still give them a chance to recover before the cold of winter. But this autumn there's not any work for me to do on my trees. Truthfully, there hasn't been much to do all year. I don't have many trees in my small rooftop garden. Those I do have had another difficult summer, baking in the heat on bare concrete. And this summer was hotter and lasted longer than it should have. But that's something we're all having to get used to. This setup is far from ideal. When I was at the Arboretum, I noticed how they kept all their deciduous trees protected in summer, and I should do this too. But there are limits to my landlord's patience, and I can't take over his rooftop. It's not my place. The conifers do okay. Even my transplanted ginkgo and red pine seedlings continue to survive. But I can't keep a Japanese maple alive here. In Australia, it's spring, and my real trees, which are all there, are starting to wake up. But it'll be another few months until I can see them. I miss them and imagine a future where I have a place of my own and it's quiet and I'm at peace. But it's just a fantasy. I'm sure my dissatisfaction and restlessness would follow me there too. I've spent a long time journeying to escape it, but it always follows. This is an alley pretty close to my home in Korea. And there's this really old, cool Chinese juniper here that I walk by every day. I started this channel in July 2020. The significance of that date is probably obvious to anyone who experienced that strange and discomforting year. In 2020, I was living in the Korean city of Daegu, and for 1 week in February of 2020, Daegu became famous around the world as the epicenter of one of the first coronavirus outbreaks outside of China. I stayed home and tweeted about it. A bunch of Western journalists contacted me because I was an English-speaking guy living in Daegu on Twitter. ABC Australia wanted me to film a video diary for them. I said no because I didn't want a bunch of people laughing at me. And anyway, all I was doing was staying home and tweeting. Later, they found a different guy, and I was glad I said no, because in his video diary, he came across as a scared asshole.
I'm at the epicenter of the corona outbreak in South Korea, and I can assure you we still have toilet paper.
These days, I would probably try to film a beautiful cinematic masterpiece for them, a meditation on isolation in the time of COVID, and see what they did with it. But they'd probably still just edit it to make me look like a scared asshole.
We still have toilet paper.
2 weeks after that, coronavirus broke out everywhere else too, so everyone forgot about Daegu. But I was still living there. I was doing a lot of bonsai, something I'd started a while earlier, for the same reason that so many people drifted towards cottagecore hobbies in that time. It calmed me and kept me grounded. But I had nobody to show the things I was making to, so I decided to start a YouTube channel. The main thing I wanted to do was talk about how the Japanese maple seedlings grew wild by the highways near where I lived, because I thought it was interesting. I made a bad video that I deleted, then a decent video, and then I made my movie about Japanese maple seedlings. I tried hard to make it as good as I could, and I was happy with it. But only 7 people watched it, so I gave up. Later, after I ran back to Australia, somebody discovered it and understood it and subscribed to my channel, and that started a flood. It's still the video of mine that has the most views, and I still like it. There are a lot of things about it that I could do better these days, but it had the feeling I wanted to give it. Something about melancholy and stillness and finding wildness growing in a foreign city. I was also in that year recovering from what felt like a betrayal from someone I'd been close to for a very long time, although I imagine the story is quite different from her point of view. It affected me a lot and changed who I was and how I saw the world. She always used to contact me at Chuseok, so it's an absence I still feel at that time and when the weather starts to change like that. Be Here Now is a 1971 book of self-helpy Eastern mysticism, a 1973 song by George Harrison, and a pretty mediocre 90s album by Oasis. As an idea, it's much older. Exist in the present. Don't dwell on what has passed away or what is yet to be, as Leonard Cohen and in a different way Buddha both said. For me, it's an aspirational goal. It's not something I'm by nature good at. I drift into re-examinations of my past, ruminations about the wrong choices I made and the things I could have done better had I known then what I know now. And I think about the future too much, too, like Gatsby, always searching for the green light, the orgastic future that year by year recedes before us. Bonsai helps me with that, and it's a theme that runs through all the things I want to say about it. There are no mistakes in bonsai because every mistake gives your trees more character. And there's no point thinking about the future of your tree. It takes too long and you could go crazy thinking about the magnificent tree you'll have in 20 years. Enjoy them for what they are now because the present is all you have. Bonsai is a metaphor for everything. I got old here. Like Hemingway said about going broke, it seemed to happen in two ways, gradually, then suddenly. I noticed at first when various joints in my body started to crack and pop. And second, when people started to become less interested in making friends with me. Alex Garland, back when he was a writer and before he gave it up to become a famous movie director, wrote in The Beach, "Escape through travel works." He was right, but it's also the sort of thing you write in your 20s when cynicism is cool and provides easy answers that you think are clever. Escape through travel works, but eventually it stops working. Eventually you run out of places to run to and you realize that nothing has really changed. I do think a lot about that future, that lonely but aspirationally peaceful one where I tend a bonsai garden and the noise in my head finally quietens. It's a long way from the future I once dreamed for myself, but the possible paths start to close off as you get older. And right now it's the best one I can see for myself. At least I'd have some actual trees to make videos about, which it turns out is a really useful thing to have for a bonsai YouTube channel. But there is beauty here in this tiny Korean town, and I know I'll miss it one day. I do try to appreciate it and be here now. So maybe one more year in this place. Maybe one more year will be enough. Enough for me to make a plan, grow more, fix the things I can fix, and reconcile myself to the things that I can't change. And one fine day, sincerely, Zachary Growing.